Welcome to the Leadership Spark podcast, where we equip you to be the great leader your people deserve. It is Hampton and Corey here. We're talking about Superman today, and I've heard there's actually a new Superman movie that is coming out here soon, and I hope Superman doesn't come after us today, because what Corey and I are about to say is it's nothing against him, but if you were to pick the better leader, or the leader you want to be more like often, it's actually not someone like Superman. It's Yoda. So I'm not the biggest Star Wars person in the world, but I know enough to know a little bit about Yoda for this to make sense, and you probably do too. So today we're talking about more Yoda, less Superman. What in the world am I talking about, Corey?
Yeah, and just to be clear, it's more Yoda, less Superman or superhero. It's not all Yoda, zero superhero, right? Because there are times as a leader where you just have to go in and save the day. But that should be not the norm. The norm shouldn't be you go save the day as a leader, even if you have the ability to do it. Because you know what happens when you save the day every time, Hampton? What's your team expect every time something happens?
You to save the day.
You to save the day. And so nobody's going to grow in that scenario. Although there are times where you just got to roll your sleeves up and you have to go get after it and you go save the day. But more often than not, what your team needs from you is not for you to be the superhero. What your team needs from you is to be more like Yoda. And so let's talk about that a little bit. And so if you think about Yoda, whether you're a Star Wars fan or not, maybe you're a baby Yoda, which this illustration kind of breaks down if it's baby Yoda, because baby Yoda really doesn't do this. But think about Yoda and his relationship with Luke Skywalker. Yoda was like the most powerful Jedi, right? Yoda could do all of it. He could do whatever he wants. And you kind of see that whenever he shows up to be the superhero. That little, I don't even know what he is.
Little green
guy. I mean, he brings it, right? And so, but there's these times where he knows that he has to train Luke to be a Jedi. And so even though Yoda could do it better, he has to let Luke fail, right? He has to let Luke try to do the things that he knows in the future Luke's going to need those skills to be able to be the Jedi that Luke needs to become. And so as a leader, you have to posture yourself being more like Yoda, meaning that you are not necessarily in a support role, but you are very intentional and you're very mindful to put people in situations that are going to allow them to grow. Even if you could do it better, you can do it faster, and they may fail. Because when they fail, they're going to learn something from it that's going to make them better the next time. And if you just go in and save the day every time, then they're never going to get better. And so what your team needs from you is for you to be more like Yoda and less like a superhero. What your team needs from you is to do things like give them feedback. What your team needs from you is to do things like give them a common goal and let them go, maybe in some ways struggle a little bit to be able to figure out their role. What your team needs from you is to set the standard and then give feedback along the way when people aren't meeting the standard so that they can course correct and elevate to the standard. And so those are Yoda-like activities that you would do versus just saving the day. And so sometimes you need to go save the day, but more often than not, your team needs you to be more like Yoda. And that's really what extraordinary leaders do. And that's the role of a leader on an extraordinary team. So your go and do is pretty simple. Think of ways that you can develop your team and put them in a position where they can grow, to where they can actually become the hero of the story and you become the guide. And that's what Yoda was. Yoda was the guide leading Luke. You be the guide for the people on your team. And I guarantee you that both of you will win.